We getting shot in the streets.
And I'm just like you.
We getting locked by these caps.
And I'm just like you.
We fulfill the
And I'm
prophecies.
just like you.
You might be light, I might be dark.
But I'm just like you.
We kill each other over colors.
And I'm just like you.
I'm in these ghettos, in these
And
slums.
I'm just like you.
They call you nigga, call me Spick.
And I'm just like you.
You was 1619, I was 1492. We getting shot in the
And
streets.
I'm just like you.
We getting locked by these caps.
And I'm just like you.
Welcome to FCN Quick News of the Day. I am Officer Eben, and in today's news we have...
Trump attacks Smithsonian's Black History Museum, says it divides America.
So this is going to the Smithsonian Museum. So anybody who doesn't know about this museum complex, it's one of the largest museum complex in the world. It has about 11 museums. So let's continue reading.
President Donald Trump's latest executive order targets the Smithsonian Institution, accusing it of spreading divisive ideologies.
So they're saying, so Trump is saying that this Smithsonian Institution is accused of spreading divisive ideology. Let's find out.
His attack includes the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., and his order pushes for a more traditional, unity-focused narrative.
So traditional going into the so-called white man's ideology, his history, his customs. They don't want our people, the so-called African Americans who are the tribe of Judah, to be able to correlate their history with the Bible. This is why our leadership is constantly going into the history of the transatlantic slave trade, the sub-Saharan slave trade, our history during the times of the dark ages, because why? Our people are able to correlate this history with the Bible. So what does the power of be? What don't they want our people to do to correlate that history? Continue reading.
And his order pushes for a more traditional, unity-focused narrative, sparking criticism from historians and cultural advocates.
So this is going into unity. So where do we read about this history? The Bible tells us in Romans 15:4 that everything written aforetime was written for our learning. So let's go into this history that happened in the past. First Maccabees 1:1.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Cheddim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
So now we're reading about Alexander the Greek. This is a so-called white man who rose up in power. So now let's continue reading.
And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations.
So now let's jump down to verse 5.
Verse 5. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them, while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years, and then died.
So now we're reading about the rising up in power of the ancient Greeks under Alexander the Greek. And before he died, he ended up dividing his nation amongst his four generals, and one of his top generals was Seleucus. So now we're going to read about Seleucus' line all the way down to his descendant Antiochus Epiphanes, verse 41.
Verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
So this is Antiochus. He's want all the people under his dominion to be one people. No division, everybody being united under Greek ideology. The same thing that Trump is doing. He wants everybody in his kingdom to be united under American ideology. Continue reading.
And everyone should leave his laws.
And everyone should leave his laws. So what comes with your laws? That comes your culture, your customs, your history, your identity. So what Antiochus Epiphanes want all those under his kingdom to do? Leave your laws, leave your customs, and follow after Greek ideology. The same thing Trump is doing. He wants everyone to leave their customs and their laws and follow after American ideology. And what's that American ideology? Edomite, so-called Caucasian ideology. Continue reading.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So many of the Israelites consented to his religion. So what do? They get those who are popular, those who have influence, and they use those who have money and wealth, and they use their influence to influence the rest of the Israelites. And that's the same thing that America does today. They get your entertainers, your rappers, your actors, and they put them up on high, and they use them to influence their people. For example, you had Lil Wayne. Those who remember Lil Wayne a few years ago, he had an interview where he was proud to say, I'm a black man. There's no racism. I'm rich. But just a few years ago, back in 2006, 2007, you put out a song called Georgia Bush, talking about the atrocities that happened during Katrina. How the so-called white man Esau, he blew up the levees, and he allowed the floods to destroy the so-called black parishes so they can save the white parishes. You were talking about that in your songs, but what happened? They give them wealth, they give them drugs, they give them money, they give them women, and what happens? He forget about his oppression. So they use these influential entertainers in our communities to influence the rest of our people to do away with our customs and cultures and follow after American ideology. Continue reading.
Consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
And that's the whole point. They want us to follow after the strange laws of their land. So now jump down to verse 48. So what was the point of them doing all of this? Verse 48.
Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised.
So now, when you leave our children uncircumcised, that's meaning what? We're no longer following after our customs and our cultures. Look at our young children today. They're now following after BET, World Star Hip Hop, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Our young children are joining gangs, doing drugs, whoring out our women. So now our children are now uncircumcised in the eyes of God. Continue reading.
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law.
So that's the whole point, is for us to forget our laws. This is why Trump wants to erase our history so that we can no longer make connection with our past. And if we can't make connection to our past, then when we read the Bible, we're not going to be able to see ourselves. We're going to be what they want us to be, which is Americans. Same thing Antiochus Epiphanes was doing in the past. He was Hellenizing our people so we can become Greeks. Trump is assimilating our people so we can become Americans. So now, give me the scripture. So now the question is, will Trump succeed in what he's doing? Let's find out. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 14. Will Trump succeed in what he's trying to do? Daniel 11:14.
Daniel chapter 11 and verse 14. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. Also the robbers of thy people shall exalt themselves to establish the vision.
So this is going into dual history. In current times, the robbers of our people, that's a so-called white man. The so-called Jewish man, the Bible calls them Amalek. They're the robbers of our people. They stole our identity. They stole our culture. They stole our land. Continue reading.
But they shall fall.
But they shall fall. Read that last part again.
But they shall fall.
They're going to try to establish the vision, but they are going to fall. Their vision is to what? Establish themselves as God's chosen people, and that we're the Gentiles, that we're African Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. No, we are the Israelites according to the Bible, and what they're trying to do, trying to unite all nations under their ideology, God is saying they are going to fail. And let's get the last scriptures. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. Let's find out what's going to happen to them in the end.
Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron.
So this is going into the fourth kingdom. The fourth kingdom is going into Rome, the Roman Empire. Continue reading.
Forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided.
So this kingdom, this last kingdom, Babylon, this This kingdom of iron, meaning what? This last kingdom that we're in is going to have elements of Rome through its political system, through its military, through its entertainment, its coliseums, its sports. So this kingdom that we're in is showing elements of the last kingdom, Rome. But it's going to be mixed with miry clay. What is that miry clay going into? Continue reading.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron. For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly broken.
So this kingdom is going to be partly broken, meaning what? This mixed multitude that we have in this last kingdom, they're going to try to join us all together, assimilate all of us into American customs, but God is saying that's not going to happen. There will be division. There will be strife. There will be confusion. There will be kingdom going against kingdom, nation going against nation, and there will be civil unrest in this kingdom. What Trump is trying to do, he's trying to go against Bible prophecy, but Bible prophecy must come to pass. Continue reading.
So the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
So this is what America does. They destroy the nations all over the world. Don't matter if you're in the continent of Africa, the continent of Asia, the continent of South America. They destroy nations all over the world, and they bring those multitude of people into this country. They call it the Great Melting Pot. But even though America has this as a great melting pot, they want to unite us all under assimilation, American ideologies. God is saying they're going to be divided. They're going to be broken. They will not unite. They're going to mix like water and oil. It's impossible. Continue reading.
But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed.
So this is what we're seeing right now. God is setting up his kingdom on earth. And what's that kingdom he's selling? He's bringing up? It's the 12 tribes of Israel. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. God is raising you up. He's bringing you back to your history, your culture, and your customs, and he's reminding you who you are. And this is what Trump and the elite are trying to stop. Finish that off.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
And that's the end result. That's what the Bible's about. Christ is going to come and destroy this kingdom on earth and establish his kingdom of heaven. And with that, I say shalom.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
What is the nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community.